Hi guys, James at RampantLionReviews again for you today with another beer review. For this one we are going to head over to Sweden once again, and we're going to revisit one of my favourite breweries from the Gothenburg area, and of course these guys are very prolific. So we're going to return once again to Beerbliotek, and we're having a taste of their No Style Without Substance. So this one is number 188 because remember Beerbliotek very rarely brew the same thing and they number all of their beers because of that, but this one comes in at 11% ABV and they're describing it as an Imperial Cascadian Dark Ale, but I think the more general way to refer to this beer would be as an Imperial Black IPA, and I've had some really good black IPAs over the last little while, and I think I've told you before on the channel, this is a style I always feel that you get so much more out of if it's Imperial. Like the regular black IPAs, all you get is a little bit of black malt, but if you take them up to Imperial strength, you start to get the caramel and all of this other kind of complexity out of it. You do need a nice complex malt base, I think, to make this style work, but as I said, I've had some really nice black IPAs over the last little while, and I'm glad to see that this style is sort of making a little bit of a kind of mini comeback, if you like, because it was all the rage for a little while and it disappeared in favour of these kind of New England IPAs. So I am glad to see one of my favourite breweries in Sweden brewing a new one of these. So as always, I hope you guys enjoy my take on this beer. So anyway, as is usual with my reviews then, I'll tell you a little bit about the brewery quickly. If you want to get straight to the tasting, of course, just fast forward. All the usual links are in the description below. That's the brewery website, the link to my other reviews that I've done from Beerbliotek before. There will be more in the near future. There's all the usual social media. If you want to see more beer reviews, do please consider subscribing to the channel. The whole channel, of course, has a geography-based tagging system, so you can go into the home page and search for beer based on country, city or state, whatever it is you're interested in. Do check out the playlist of beers from different countries. There is one there for all the Swedish beers that I've reviewed for you. That's constantly being added to, and as always, please do get in touch and let me know some of your other favourite beers and breweries. It's always great to hear from you guys, and the support that you give the channel is hugely appreciated. So anyway, to tell you a little bit about Beerbliotek then. So as I've told you before, Beerbliotek are based in Gothenburg, Göteborg as you would say in Swedish, and they were founded back in 2013 by a multinational group of friends. So this is Adam Norman, who's from Australia, Richard Bull, who's from New Zealand, Anders Hedlund, who is a Swede of course, and Daryl Denecker, who comes from South Africa. So Adam and Richard ran Bar Doppio in Gothenburg, and Daryl and Anders were really regular customers there, and quite often they would just sit and chat about beer, and then one day they decided to buy a brewing kit and start brewing their own stuff to sell in the bar. So the brewery is actually located in the old Klippan Sugar building, which is a really nice old building if you go and look at the photographs of it, but it's very close to the old Carnegie Brewery in Gothenburg, which is a really quite famous Swedish company actually. The old Carnegie Porter is a really quite famous beer. But the brew kit they have is from Brewfab in Scotland, and in their first year apparently they brewed 38 different varieties of beer, and all their brews, as I was mentioning, are done in very small batches because they wanted to stick to the home brewing roots of basically never really brewing the same beer. So they've got no fixed range and they're always kind of offering brand new beers. That is a little bit problematic in Sweden, I'll point out, because of Systembolaget. So in Sweden, if you're wanting to try some of the Beerbliotek beers, you are best to go to beer bars and restaurants and things, because the Systembolaget range, it does make it quite difficult for them to actually get all of their new beers, if you like, because you have to kind of put them up a year before and things like that and have them approved by the tasting board of Systembolaget and stuff. So what they do is very cool, but in terms of actually buying their beers in cans and stuff, it's a lot easier to get these beers in Denmark and get the different ones in Denmark than it is in Sweden, which is kind of a strange thing. They do need to change the rules a little bit, I think, with Systembolaget, but in some ways it's good as well. But the idea behind the name Beerbliotek was that they basically wanted to brew a wide variety of beers, like I was saying, so that their customers can kind of always learn something new, so they can learn about new hops, new yeasts, different types of malt and all of these kind of things. It's basically the concept of a library, but with beer. So it's a really cool idea, and as I've told you before, these guys produce some pretty damn awesome stuff, and it's cool because you can always, as the idea, they basically stuck to their idea, and you can always learn something new, like I was saying. So yeah, this one should be really quite interesting to try. So yeah, that's all you need to know about Beerbliotek just now. As I said, the link to their website and stuff is in the description below, so do make sure you check out, and as I say, they're always releasing new stuff, so it is quite a good idea to follow these guys on Facebook and just see what they're coming out. I will point out as well, this is another beer that I got at the corner shop in Crossgates, just next to Dunfermline. A guy in there's got a really nice little range, good selection of Danish and Swedish stuff actually, which is quite interesting, and that's where I got this one. I don't know if this one is actually available in Systembolaget over in Sweden. I didn't look at that, so I'll need to look at that when I get back over there and see if it is available. But like I said, an 11% Imperial Black IPA, Imperial Cascadian Dark Ale as they're describing it, number 188, No Style Without Substance. So without further ado then, let's get this guy out and we'll get on with the tasting then. So yeah. I'll also put a wee link in the description below to the corner shop as well. The guy in there, really, really nice chap. He's got beers actually at very good prices. This one was only £4, and that's not far off what you'd probably actually pay more for it in Sweden, considering it's an 11% one. So really, really good prices. And he's actually going to relocate to a bigger store soon, so he'll probably have even more stuff. He's just starting out, but very, very nice chap. So make sure you like the Facebook page for that, and at the description below. The whole point of this beer industry, of course, is to support local business. But as you can see, and as you would expect from the black IPA, this one has poured a really nice dark, kind of really dark rosewood, kind of chestnutty colour. There was about a half finger of a frothy white head on this one. It is, of course, for the higher strength beers, it is a little bit more difficult to get head retention on them, but this one had about a half finger of a kind of frothy beige head, and it's just faded away to be a very thin foamy layer, and there's some lovely red fruity characters and some kind of grassy hoppy notes coming off this beer just as you move it around, but one or two big bubbles sticking towards the side of the glass, and quite a few little ones just going up towards the bottom of that thin foamy layer there. But overall it looks really, really nice. So let's take a closer look at the aroma then and see how we get on. Yeah, that's really, really nice. When you sugar it up, you get a load of complexity out of this one. So as you would expect, there's a nice bit of roasty black malt just kind of forming the backbone of the beer. On top of that, you get a nice dark chocolate. It does have a little bit of a milky element to it as well, right enough, but it's more of a dark chocolate, I would say. And there's definitely some kind of roasted brown sugar in there. There's a wee bit of an almost woody and nutty element too, but you can definitely pick out, there is quite a strong note of that roasted black malt coming out of this beer, which again, like I said, is what you'd expect, but there is a degree of sweetness to it. But there's a wee touch of earthiness from the hops, but there's a good bit of a kind of slightly floral character, which is what you'd expect from the Cascade. The Cascade's a beautiful hop to use in these nice kind of black IPAs and stuff. But this one really does smell very, very nice. So there's a nice, it's quite a red fruity character that's coming out. It's raisins, but it does have a little bit of an almost kind of sultana note as well, with all these mixed dried grapes. It really does have that note to it. There's maybe a wee bit of a figgy note as well, and some kind of candied red fruit ester. I always describe in the terms of those little heart-shaped sweets that you get in Haribo Star Mix, the candied fruit esters that you get out of these beers always remind me of that. But this one does smell really quite nice. So as I always say, just take a little bit of time and enjoy the aroma of the beer before you get stuck in. What I would say about this one is, in terms of an Imperial Black IPA, the roasted black malt is just a little bit more prominent, but I'm sure it will be a really, really awesome beer. So without further ado, let's get stuck into this one. So this one is No Style Without Substance, number 188, from Beerbliotek, based in Gothenburg in Sweden. A really, really good Swedish craft brewery. Let's get stuck in. Skål! Yeah, that is really quite nice actually. It really is quite different as well to the other Imperial Black IPAs and stuff that I've had before. But I like how that comes across. It's just got a completely different feel to it. So yeah, with this one you have a nice kind of, you've actually got a little bit of an almost bready character. I'm feeling a little bit of bready note just kind of going right across the middle of the palate. You can just feel that nice bready kind of mouthfeel to it, which is interesting. But then on top of that, and as the flavour progresses, you start to get a little bit more of that roasted black malt. When you progress further and further into the aftertaste, you definitely get some of that nice roasted black malt character out of this beer. And earlier on in the taste though, you do get some of the sweet chocolate. There is a little bit of sweetness to it, but I think it leans more towards the kind of dark side of things. There's some nice brown sugars there as well. You can definitely pick up a little bit of that caramelly brown sugar sweetness right in the middle of your palate. It's really nicely done, this beer. But they've done a really nice job with this. It's completely different in feel to the other black IPAs I've had. It really does lean more towards that roasted black malt a little bit, but it does have that nice complexity that you expect of the style. The malt base on this one is quite simple, and as you go further into the aftertaste, you can pick up, there's a little bit of a slightly woody character this as well. You've seen how long it was since I took a sip of this beer, and I would definitely say there's a little bit of a kind of woody note coming out of this one. The hops, of course, are really quite nice as well. So in the back corners of the palate, I'm definitely picking up a little bit of earthiness there, and that does give a kind of good bridge between the roasted black malt backbone, if you like, and the hoppy side of the beer. But as you come further forward, you can feel there's a little bit of a nice floral, spicy character. You can feel the earthiness, and there's a slight herbal character on the sides of the tongue too. But as you come further forward to the front corners of the palate, you can feel a little bit of that nice floral aromatic character. Then round the very front curve of the tongue, it becomes a little bit lighter and grassier. But that's nice. That's a really quite nice beer, I have to say. I certainly wouldn't hesitate to drink this again. It's definitely a taster rather than a kind of session beer, but I would really quite like to have this one again. These guys, as you say, pretty much any style you have with these guys, they're going to do a good job of it. The one thing I haven't tried from them yet is like a smoke beer or a Scotch ale. I'd love to see what they would do with a Scotch ale. I think that would be very, very interesting. But with this one, if you just go behind the front curve of the palate, that's where you're going to get this nice little oily bubble where the fruits come out. And with this one, yeah, it's a nice sort of sultana and raisiny character that I was talking about in the aroma. It does kind of, this beer does reflect quite well what you would expect from it when you take in the aroma. Yeah, so it's got a nice kind of red, fruity character to it, like I was saying. It starts off and it's got a bit of sharpness to it, and then it just kind of mellows out a little bit. You've got those nice juicy raisins and sultanas in the beginning, then it just mellows out a little bit, and you start to get things like figs and maybe a little bit of plum or something like that. There is a little bit of figgy character, some plums, and there's a wee bit of a kind of candied red fruit. That's the mail arriving, if you were wondering what the bang was. The door's just over there. But yeah, it's got that nice kind of candied red fruit character to it. But I mean, to sum it up, this is a really, really lovely beer. In terms of the black IPA style, it does lean a little bit more towards the roasty side of things. And as I was saying, and that's not something you would normally expect from an imperial black IPA. You would expect it to have a little bit more sweetness to it as well. One of the best imperial black IPAs I've had, of course, was the Black Hop, which was from Beer Here, and the other one I think was the Black Salts and Body Malts, which was from Toyo, and the other one was the Black Shark from Kamba, Bavaria. This one's got a completely different feel to it. It's a bit more straight up, if that makes sense, but it is really quite nice. But as I said, I prefer it when they're a little bit sweeter than this, so I can tell this is a really, really good beer, and I'd want to drink it again, but it's maybe not quite my favourite Imperial Black IPA it has. But these guys do the main point about this brewery is that they do some really, really good things, and to brew the standard of beer they do when they don't brew things regularly, if you like, it's very, very impressive what Beerbliotek actually do. But for me, it's a really nice beer, and if you like a nice roasted black, a more kind of roasty leaning black IPA, you certainly are going to enjoy this one. In terms of the mouthfeel then, I would say this one's mid-bodied, the carbonation's quite soft, it's quite an oily mouthfeel, I think, this one, more than anything, definitely leaning towards the oily side of things. There's a good bit, there's not so much in the way of hoppy bitterness to this one. Most of the bitterness for me is actually coming from the malt base in this, but there is a good balance with a little bit of sweetness in there. But as I say, it does lean more towards that roasty bitter character. Hops are quite smooth, a little bit of bitterness from them, and there's a good wee bit of juicy fruity character, but overall the flavour is dominated a bit by that kind of roasty black malt, and it does have that interesting, almost bready quality to it, which is quite quirky for a black IPA too. But overall, another very, very nice beer from Beerbliotek, and I wouldn't expect anything less from these guys. As I was saying, the fact that they can brew so many different beers and all of them seem to hit a very good standard is very, very impressive for me. So yeah, if you get the chance to check out some of these Beerbliotek beers from Gothenburg, I highly recommend that you do. But once again, thank you for watching my beer reviews. Until the next time, please like, subscribe, share, all the usual YouTube stuff. Do check out all the links in the description below. Let me know your own thoughts on this beer in the comments section below, and let me know what your favourite ones are that you've had from Beerbliotek. There's a huge range to choose from, so I would be interested to hear what ones I need to look out for. You guys in Gothenburg probably know a bit better than I do, but it's always great to hear from you guys. Once again, thank you for watching my videos, and it's been very cool to return to Beerbliotek once again, and I'm sure I will again in the very near future. Until the next time, it's landed just now. This was the No Style Without Substance, a lovely Imperial Black IPA from Beerbliotek in Gothenburg. Ska.